The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, here I am. Welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. I'm just going to make sure all these video cameras are recording because I did it. That's ADD for you. You think you did something and then you convince yourself you didn't do it. If you didn't know, we're on YouTube. You can watch the show and check out what we're wearing, what we're not wearing, how much my face looks tired. Like you can predict how long ago it was since I got up. Things like that. Today I'm doing pretty good. I got up super early because I was like so sad yesterday.
What's going on with your day today? Because we had to record a little bit earlier than usual.
Yeah, so we had to record early today. So, just to be completely honest, not that it's like we would ever hide this, but I don't know why I'm acting like it would be some secret that we're recording
To be fully
early.
transparent.
It is the day of still. Anya Marina's here.
Hello.
Noah is here. Hi. It's 8:45 in the morning, or 8:54 in the morning to be exact. I just never want to lie to you guys. Central time zone. Noah, is it 6:54 where you are?
7.
Okay. Yeah, I never know what Arizona does. I know they don't budge. That's all I know.
Yeah, so 1 hour behind you.
Okay, cool. Well, does that mean then that it's getting, like, since you guys don't do daylight saving, like this morning, did you know that you can find out when the sun rises and sets? Do you know how the quickest way to find that out?
No.
Put your finger in your butt.
Yes. It is a sundial. It's an indoor sundial. The quickest way, which I didn't know, is to pull up your weather app on your iPhone.
Oh, yes. Cheat.
And it just says it will always say it on there. Like throughout, you know how you like scroll through the day and it'll just always say, and it's really interesting to pay attention to, which I always do because I go running. I always wait to run till the last second, and I don't like to run too much after nightfall, knocked full. And so, but this morning I got up because I wanted to go for a run in the park early, but the sun didn't rise until 7:18. I got up at 7. It was pitch dark outside still. Is it dark at 7 there, Noah?
Yes. So now
Yes.
it gets, I think the sun comes out like at 7:20.
Yeah, that's bullshit. And then at sunset, if the sun is gonna set sooner, it should come up sooner too. I thought that was the whole idea. But
Yeah.
I'm never up early enough to know that it's not coming up too soon.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
You should
anyway,
file a complaint.
I know with
Against
who?
the sun?
God,
Mother Nate.
Mother Nate. So yeah, we're recording early because I have to babysit. I don't have to. I get to babysit my niece and nephew. Not Forrest. He's the youngest one. Did you guys see the video I posted of
Yes.
Forrest on my reels on Instagram?
On Christmas.
Hilarious.
It is
reveal.
so cute. Yeah, because I was just filming Poppy and Arlo fighting over some toy, and my dad going, "Give her a chance." You got to see that family dynamic that we talked about yesterday of my dad just like kind of muttering something that's already clear what's happening, and then, and then you see me like kind of notice. I'm filming them, and then you see me notice. Forrest crawls into the kitchen, and I go, "Hi, Crawley," which I was thinking of Claire Crawley from The Bachelorette. He looks like her. That's why I call him that. No, it was just he was crawling. So I go, "Hi, Crawley," and then I zoom over the camera, and I just think it's gonna be him crawling, and then which it is. But he just looks up and he already has a smile on his face, and it's so freaking cute. I can't stop watching it. I feel like I'm turning into one of those people that just like thinks their nephews and nieces or their own kids are like cuter than the rest, and then you post and you're like, this is kind of a not great. Like there's this I won't name who, but there's this comedian right now that Chris and I are 100% obsessed with. Anya was over at my house the other night with all the girls, and we made her and Kirsten, everyone watched this show and like forced this like weird sketch show upon them. And I love it so much. And then you watched this. I wanted to watch everything this person had done. And then I was watching some late night appearances that they had done. And they were just like, my daughter's really funny too. And then they like played a video of their daughter. And it was just like crickets. Like it was just not funny and not that cute or anything. And it was just There was one video, like, he did it on 2 different shows. And there was one where I was like, okay, I see something. The other one, I was like, this is awkward. Like, everyone has to pretend this kid's cute. So I kind of felt like that with the forest thing. But it's just, I keep watching it. It makes me feel so good. So I guess he's in daycare. And then
I love his
Poppy
old man
and-
sweater in that video.
Yeah, it is. It was from Old Navy, too.
Where it looks like it's made of
so
wood.
Cute. Yes.
He's so cute.
It doesn't look that cozy for a little baby to wear like thick
A wool sweater.
you'd maybe wear on the show alone.
So are the
but
kids
then
coming to your place?
Yes, Matt, my brother-in-law, is going to drop them off at 10. And they're very excited. And I'm like, temper that, kids, because
Do
I
they
don't have
need
anything
a sitter,
planned.
or is this like an experiment, or what?
No,
Why is
they
this
need
happening?
one because my parents aren't available to do it. And there's this new thing where, like, I don't know, Chris and I both are experiencing this with our nieces and nephews. They don't have babysitters. Everyone just relies on moms and dads. And there's no, what happened to babysitters? And the
It
parents
takes
go,
a village.
well, the parents go, well, my kids are just going to freak out if there's a babysitter. Yeah, it's scary. The first time your parents leave you with a stranger, it's scary. But I was getting left with babysitters when I was 3, like from the get-go. And I just think that I'm sure people listening relate, like, either you're being called upon to watch kids and you don't get paid, by the way, family doesn't get paid. And we wouldn't want to be.
right.
Like, I don't want to be compensated. But what happened to babysitters? There's this new thing of like, and my mom goes, we don't know. Lauren doesn't know how to find one. And I go, how did you find one in 1986? There's apps now. There's
I
like,
know. There was just the white pages then.
yeah, there was nothing then. There was just word of mouth from your neighbor down the street who like knew some pedophile that like offered their services.
Yeah,
now
ask
it's like,
Linda.
It's vetted.
now everything has been, there's references, there's apps, there's services. There's so many babysitters. And, I know cost is one thing of it, but I always just say, like, what if they didn't have it? Like, what would they do? What if they didn't have my parents? So I'm happy to do it, but so I'm babysitting, which is what I did for most of my life before comedy took over. That's all I did for a job. I did a little temping here and there, but I was mainly a babysitter when I was living in LA and all through high school and like not during college, but after college. And I hated it so much. I hated it. Did you guys babysit?
Yes. My next door neighbor showed me his little wiener. I just remember being like 11 and watching him, and he was like, "This is my penis." And I was traumatized because he was only like 2 years younger than me, I think. I'm like, why am I why is a 10-year-old babysitting an 8-year-old?
Yeah,
That doesn't check out.
That gets into some murky territory.
He actually went to jail for robbery and maybe rape.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Not
I
my
wish
fault.
him and his family a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Unfortunate circumstances. Yeah, whatever happened that day with Anya definitely traumatized him the rest of his life.
But I babysat my sister's best friend, who's still a very good friend. And I think I did a good job with her. Her parents were very strict. She was an only child. She had to play cello all the time. And I just let her do anything because she was a crazy only child. Like the second her parents were like, dun 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 da 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 dun dun, like, and she just went completely 180 the other way. She's so cool.
She
Caitlin,
been
she
arrested
lives
for
in-
burglary and possible rape.
all her kids have like long hair. They're all beach kids. She consciously decided to be the opposite. But I remember just
way.
yeah, I let her eat anything she wanted. We just had so much fun. It was great.
Yeah, when it comes to like my niece and nephew, I want them to be the best people that they can grow into, and I know that I'm gonna like be around them a long time. So I don't want to either be a boring aunt or an aunt that just lets them watch TV, because I just want to have their minds be as pliable and stimulated as possible. But at the same time, TV is not that bad, and it is such a nice thing to be able to have when you're babysitting. I used to always let kids watch TV so much. There's only so much you can do with them. I'm looking for things to do. I was thinking of going to Target and saying you can have any toy in the entire building. You get to pick out one toy, because kids have at their age, 5 and 3, no concept of money, right? So they're not. If you're 7, you go, okay, I'm going to get the most expensive thing. I know where to go. The electronics, where things are like locked up. But Arlo and Poppy, they're gonna just to get to choose anything.
That's
they're gonna
the
pick
best.
just something. Yeah, they're gonna pick something either big that is probably cheap, or like a ball or something, or like a little like Barbie doll, and Barbies are cheap. So I think that's gonna be a fun thing. I know that that's like spoiling them.
No, you should
but
give
I
them a
don't know what
time
else to
limit.
do.
Because
Oh,
then
that's a
they're
good
not
idea.
gonna be able to decide what they want, and they'll
No,
keep
but I
showing
want
it
to
to
eat
you.
up time, man. Like I'd love to stay in Target for like 2 hours. That would be nice for me.
Because you've got a 4-hour countdown, right?
4
Until
hour,
you're free?
yes. And I am that. And speaking of countdowns, that's all you do when you're babysitting is look at the fucking clock.
Oh my God.
I was just
yes.
reminiscent of that. I was like, oh my God, I know today is gonna be clock watch. I'm gonna be like NASA, or New Year's Eve, Dick Clark, just constantly watching that clock. Because
I'm sure
that's all I
teachers
used to
were
do
that
babysitting.
way. Like in high school, teachers are probably like, "What the fuck am I gonna do today? Put a movie on."
Yes. I mean, they have hour chunks that they got to fill, and they have lesson plans. I think for kids, I'm just going to put on Pokemon and watch. Arlo likes to watch autistic men draw Pokemon. I just guess that they're autistic, because you just see their hand and they just draw Pokemon. It's kind of sped up. It is like very soothing and fascinating. So I'll probably put on that. Also, there's this new show called Bluey. It's not new, but it's been around a while. It's called Bluey. And it's about a dog and his family, and people that don't have kids are obsessed with it. Like adults are like really loving Bluey. I read something about it recently in some, the Vulture or something like that. And I am someone that was like, in 8th grade, I was really into Blue's Clues. I don't know why. I just loved it. I thought it was adorable. It was soothing to me. So I think I'm really going to get into the show Bluey, because if adults already are on board with it, and it's not like they have adult jokes in it that they're like nodding at adults. There's certain shows like that, like the Fairly Odd Parents. I remember that used to have a lot of jokes. SpongeBob, obviously, Pee-wee's Playhouse. But Bluey, if you're into Bluey, let me know, because I'm going to check it out today. So maybe put that on.
Rachel, that woman that Sarah Lena's been watching a lot of? She's all over the place now. She's like blew up.
Oh, okay. The Rachel on YouTube.
Yes.
Miss Rachel.
Something like that.
Yeah, Sarah Lena sent us clips, and I was not even about to watch that. I was like, I can't. I assume it's a woman with a high-pitched voice that's counting things, right?
And now we're going to count to 10, Nikki. 1.
Do you ever
it
think
is a
that
little
you
like
could
that.
be? There's like, if all else fails, you could just make videos for kids.
Yes.
That's what I think sometimes, is like, if all else fails, I can just be like in front of a camera going like 1, 2, 3 popsicles.
I mean, isn't that just Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Hi, guys. I'm just going to play a couple songs for you now. I feel that way.
Wait, who are you following?
I'm just doing my own story. My live, me on live. I'm doing a Patreon show tonight, and then I thought maybe I'll do an Instagram live while I'm doing it and try to recruit some new people.
Yes, absolutely. You
I'll
have
just do it in that
followers
voice.
that like your music. If they're bored, they'll tune into the Instagram live. If they don't want to watch it, they'll leave. It's so low pressure.
And I'll just like live stream Bluey in the background just in case they're bored.
Here's the ticket. Cover up the number at the top. Put a little piece of tape on the top of your phone. Because if you can see the number, you'll be obsessed with it, and you'll be like, only 47 people, only 32 people. Oh my God, I just lost, after that song, I lost 15 people. It's like, if you remove the number, it does not matter, and you can go, and then you cancel out of it, and you don't even know, and it's beautiful.
Right.
So,
and don't read the comments, because then I'll be like, oh, I got to answer that person in Kansas that's asking about X, Y,
yeah,
and Z.
just let the comments go. They start talking to themselves. Like, and you can't sing your own lyrics. It's hard to look at lyrics. It's hard to read comments and also sing.
I'm too busy looking at the guitar neck anyway, so that won't be my problem.
Right, because you're all over the neck. You don't capo as much. You'll go down the neck and like figure out how to do that.
Really?
C sharp minor or whatever.
You stay in one area. That's maybe the smarter way.
Well,
Then you can
capo
really
just
make
makes
eye
it so it's
contact.
simple chord shapes in one area, and you're going and it's just like, well, I would have to look at the neck too. It's so confusing. So I'm gonna hang out with the kids today, and then I have a LASIK appointment to see if I'm too old to do that, and that'll be exciting. I'm trying to just get all my ducks in a row, freeze my eggs, laser my eyes.
Maybe they could reverse that.
What do you mean?
Freeze your eyes and laser
Did
your
you ever think about doing
eggs.
LASIK?
I'm farsighted or whatever it's called where you need readers.
Oh, yeah. And that just started. But before that, you never had bad vision?
No.
God, how do people have good vision? Do your parents have good vision? Did you grow up with parents who needed glasses?
Yeah, everyone had good vision. That's the one genetically great thing I have. Everything else is like strep throat and smoker's lung.
Well, I think one of those is caused by something, but
yeah, my parents.
Wait, what? Noah, do you have bad vision in your family?
Yeah. Well, my dad surprisingly still has good vision, but everyone else, and my sister has good vision. That bitch. But
yeah,
I would love to do LASIK, but like eye stuff really just creeps me out.
So you don't wear contact lenses?
I do. I can do contacts.
How can you do that if eye stuff creeps you out? I mean, that for people with eye stuff, they're like, I can't put my finger in my eye.
Well, for me, it's just more about like that clamp. I think from like A Clockwork Orange, I was traumatized from that scene where he like gets his eye clamped open.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Okay. I never even know what happens in that scene. And I do know that is a reference from it. And I reference it often for some reason. Because my mom can never keep her eyes open in pictures. So we do this thing now. If you are someone that has a family member or you are someone that you're always eyes are closed in pictures, which is a common thing for people, you do a countdown. You close your eyes and then you do 3, 2, 1, open. Instead of trying to just keep them open during, not going to work. And it really works for my mom. She looked amazing in these pictures this weekend. And then one time my sister and I Clockwork Orange her and just held her eyes open. Each of us took one eye. It's a hilarious picture.
Remember the other day in the hotel or wherever we were where you couldn't get the contact out of your eye? I'm dying to know.
Oh, God.
Did you ever find it or was it an illusion of a contact?
Yeah, there was no contact. It fell out. I found it later. So I thought I put it in and it didn't put in. And then all day I was like, because sometimes if you're a contact wearer, you just know that sometimes it'll kind of drift to the side and you'll have one eye that just is kind of not. And then you're like, oh, or I put it in backwards or it has like some fucking dust on it or something. And so but instead it was just my eye and I kept just pulling at my eye skin. It was terrible. Sorry, Noah. But LASIK I've always been worried about, but I'm so excited to like wake up in the morning and just see, because if there are days where I don't put in contacts because I'm just not in the mood or like my eyes need a rest because they're feeling like I wore contacts too much the day before. If I just wear glasses all day, I feel like sick. There's just something, I feel like the world is a little bit blurrier. I feel like glasses make me feel like I have a day off and I'm just kind of like, it feels like I'm in a dream state. And so contacts always make me feel like, okay, we're up and running. This is the day. It's like coffee for my eye. And so I think if I was to wake up every morning and have perfect vision, it would give me a boost out of bed because there's this just being blurry when I wake up in the morning starts me off on a weird foot. My
friend said it was the best thing he ever did for himself.
There's also, there's fears though, because there's always like those fringe stories of like, and I lost my vision, but there's always going to be that for everything. And by and large, and Taylor Swift has done it. So if she's done it, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get the LASIK test today. And I have a lot more planned today. I'll tell you about it when we get back from break. We're back from the break. Did you guys have a good relaxing one?
I feel rejuvenated.
Right. I took a cold shower this morning too because I was like, I'm just doing everything to feel better because I'm a day away from starting my P-Rod and I am so sensitive to everything. I'm crying about everything. Not crying, but I cried last night because I was able to talk to someone about my feelings and like the only way to cry is to talk to someone who's like kind of pitying you. And so I was able to cry, but I've just been like an open wound. And so I also on Instagram, I'm just constantly inundated with people telling you how to live a better life. And it's too much. I don't think it's helping anymore. All of these posts about you need to get more sunlight. I'm talking to you, Andrew Huberman. I can't stand it anymore.
Ooh,
you in that black room. What?
Is he that really good looking guy?
Yes. Oh my
He's
God, the one that like is very serious about self-help.
He's like a physicist.
Yes, he's very smart, and he does a podcast called The Huberman Lab, And he's always on there. I mean, I listen to his stuff, so it's always showing up. The algorithm knows that I listen to him. But I only listen. I don't do what he says. But it's like he put up a whole system for like living the best life, and it's getting like 30 minutes of sun on your face, like looking up at the sun.
No
direct
sunglasses.
Sunlight. Yeah.
And open your eyes really wide, too.
Yeah, with clamps.
Yeah, hold your eyes open with clamps.
Stare at an eclipse.
And maybe the sun will give you LASIK. Who knows?
Yeah.
So you got to do that. And my whole house is tinted windows because when we did the reality show for the cameras, they needed to tint the windows. So all of my plants were dying and I didn't know why. And then at one point I was like, oh, wait, these windows are getting no UV lights. And so I'm like, I have not been getting any UV light. My whole apartment has these beautiful windows. Like it's very well lit, but it's all filtered. And so I got to rip those off. And I got to go stand out in the sun and just like look up at it more often. But he also says cold plunges are huge. And you know, I watched a video of Joe Rogan doing that the other day. I would love to have like an ice bath like Joe Rogan's where he takes the top off and he goes off and he just sits in it for like 3 minutes. And then I would love that. I really want to get one because I feel like I like when I've accomplished something that is very hard.
Yeah, you would be the perfect candidate for those. Because you'd be like, I got down to even colder last night. You'd be like,
or just like longer, or like there's a countdown too, and it's over and it's quick. It's not like it's a 45-minute workout. Kill me. I don't want to do 45 minutes or 50 minutes. The what?
The death is quick too.
No, I think
you
it's
just
probably
get in the ice bath.
It would probably be a slow death. When you like die of hypothermia, you strip off all your clothes because you get super overheated right before you die. I think that's one of the most fascinating facts ever. Yeah, most people they find that have died in cold weather that have gotten stuck or are walking they're always naked because the last minutes your body thinks it's burning alive and you strip off all your clothes. So it's this like paradox of being of hypoxia. It makes you just get naked, and they always find them naked. And I'm sure they were very confused by it until science came out. And so I did the cold shower today. So I went and I worked out this morning, and working out, I just want to say, was walking on a fucking treadmill. Don't get excited. Don't compare yourself to me and be like, I didn't do anything. I literally walked leisurely on a treadmill for 30 minutes. It was nothing, and it was very hard to do because 30 minutes is even way too long to ask me to do anything. It's too long. That's why I like an ice bath. 3 minutes in and out. You can't, if anything's 3 minutes, it's fast. I want fast workouts. Not that it's a workout, but it does feel like it because all your muscles tense. So anyway, I got done with that, and then I went and I just turned on the shower and left it on cold and got in there. And I couldn't put I didn't wash my hair because I washed it yesterday and I didn't want to redo it. So I didn't like immerse myself, but I was going like, oh, and I was like, oh, I can't do this because I was like, I'm going to do this every morning. And I go, I can't because I'll wake up my boyfriend if he's sleeping because it makes you go, woo, woo. It sounds like I'm doing voice exercises, but it does, and it makes you, you talk about fast shower. I already shower so fast. I was in and out in 45 seconds because it was just, I would step out of it and scrub myself and then step into it to like wash it off. And it did like wake me up. It did make me feel alive. It made me feel like I did something that was hard and I felt accomplished. So that felt really good. So I do recommend it.
Nice job. I love how everything now that's like trendy and, for self-care is just stuff that my Russian ancestors did in, Leningrad or whatever that was cheap because they were poor. It's just like, put your baby in the snow. Right. Get into an ice bath. My grandmother was always talking about ice baths when I was growing up. I was like, yeah. And now it's like.
About ice baths?
Yeah, now there are like $8,000 workshops to learn how to do an ice bath with a famous guy on Instagram.
So did they know that they were good for your health, or were they just doing it because they didn't have hot water?
Russians know everything.
Have you ever been to a Russian bathhouse?
They knew it was good for your health.
No. Have you been to a Russian bathhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat you with
And was it cold?
They do both.
I think it's like echinacea leaves.
With oak leaves? With a pair of sunglasses?
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's echinacea.
It's in the 90s.
The oak leaves have like little thorns on them, but it was something birch leaves, maybe. I forget. one of those Russian.
I've never been to a bathhouse
Maybe it is
situation because
echinacea.
I just feel like everyone who works in it is like a slave. I just feel like when people are like, we got to go to the Korean spas, I'm like, I feel like there's places where people have sex and like there's shady things going on.
Okay.
Like they're having to give hand jobs in other rooms. They have to, I just think I've never wanted to go to one.
Spas.
Yeah, that's
I
like
want to go to a spa where
specialized
I'm
ones.
being focused on, and it's not like all hands on deck for a bunch of women in a room. It just feels gross to me. It feels like, and I'm not a germ person, but everyone's always like, we got to go to the Korean spa. And I've always been like, did you guys hear about like the world's ending soon? Like I always change the subject so quickly because I don't want to go to a Korean spa. What is it?
Fun subject change. I used to go obsessively all the time in LA to this one place, and they sadly closed. It was very clean, amazingly cheap, $90 for, you could go all day.
But that's what I'm saying. $90 to go all day.
If you
Slaves.
want, or for an hour.
That's too cheap. Slavery is happening in there.
Maybe. But
What do you
it
do in
was
there all day? It
I
seems
went-
so boring.
Well, I have like religious experiences when I get massages, and they like really work you. So they would do a body scrub. First, I would go, you shower. Everything is pristinely clean. So it feels really nice. They give you slippers. You never like touch the
Who's
tile
watching you
floor.
shower?
All the women.
Are
It's
you in a
just
room with a
women.
bunch of women?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like a huge locker room.
So you have to get completely naked in front of a bunch
Yeah.
of women.
You don't
They're
have
not-
to.
I'm
they don't
already
give a
out,
shit.
but okay.
It's great.
How do you know? I would give a shit. I'd be looking at everyone's body. So if I'm there, I give a shit. I'm staring
they're-
at your
you
bodies.
they might give you a cursory glance, but they're over it.
Okay.
It's all they see. So there's
Because
maybe
even at Equinox, I would have my own stall. I don't like this like showering with everyone. And I'm not someone who's that insecure about my body naked. But I
Right.
just... So everyone's just you get in and then you get naked with everyone.
and
kinda
all
like a
the ladies
prison
that
shower.
are massaging.
I honestly, I'm sorry to say this, it gives me Holocaust vibes. The whole idea, like what I picture these
Holocaust
places,
is a little different.
naked women kind of like shivering, being brought from room to room, not really knowing what next room has it. And like, it gives me sad vibes.
We're paying for this experience, though. You're not. You
Okay,
have
so then you take a
agency.
shower and then what do you do?
Then you get into a hot tub, hang out. They're going to call your name in like 20 minutes or whatever. They're going to call your number in 20 minutes. Everything is in Korean. So you're the only Caucasian girl there, probably, or like one of two.
Well, that again, I don't want to do that because I feel like I'm appropriating their culture. And I'm like
Fine.
this white girl that's like annoying everyone and I don't know the
Probably.
customs.
But it's great.
That's
and
another
they-
thing that I fear going abroad. I just don't want to bother other places. Like I have to go on this European tour
Well,
and
that's
I'm
why
so
they're
scared.
broke now, because you didn't go. And that's why they closed.
Right, they need your business.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. So they
They
call your
were
number.
great. They call your number. I'm in the green tea hot sauna or the hot tub. Then you can go into the red tea hot tub.
How
and
do you
can
know?
go back and
How do you know
forth.
that these are what they are?
That's what it says on them. It's like, this is the green tea hot tub. And they say shower between
What does
hot
that even
tubs.
mean? How do
I
you
don't
know
know.
which one you like or which one? What are they even
It just
for?
feels kind of different on your skin. Then you take the cold plunge.
And how did
So
you know about this place?
My friend told me about it years ago in LA, and I was like, "Oh my god, incredible!"
It sounds like a
So
sex
cheap
club. It
and
sounds
such an amazing.
underground. Okay, keep going.
Then
I
want
want to look into why it got shut down. I want to look into why it got shut down. I feel like nefarious things were
It
happening.
was during
That's all I'm saying.
COVID. I think it was during COVID.
Sure. Okay, keep going.
Then you're in the sauna. Inevitably, there's one anorexic woman in there who will bum out your whole day because she's like 80 pounds, rubbing herself like with sweat, and you're like, "Oh, honey, go home, get out of here, get some help, get into a 12-step program, something."
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like 78, and you're like, "That's me." And then
No,
you
that's
go
her
into,
weight. They weigh you.
Then
She
you
goes,
go in,
"Yay! I dropped 2 pounds."
then you go into the massage area. All the women are like mid 40s, over it, but like, "What's up? Get on the bed." And then they just treat you like a piece of meat, but gently.
No. You need to back up. You go
Okay.
into, so you get called, you go into a room and there's multiple women in that room.
Yeah,
just
they're all
looking at you,
massaging
waiting.
people on
What
massage.
do you mean all massaging people? How many
So there's
on
like
one bed?
seven beds or 8 beds, let's say, in
Did
this.
they tell you which bed to go on?
And it's all in like a locker area. So they are throwing water on you. Like it's like a huge shower with 8 beds and a shower. And they're like, go shower. So you shower again. You've had like 7 showers at this point. So you're totally clean.
When do you get deloused?
There's
Just kidding. I'm just comparing it again to the camps. Okay.
They dry you off. They oil you up. And then and then they cover your face.
Are they mad at you? Is there a vibe of like,
No.
they're kind of there's like slapping and.
No. It's more like, lie down. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm going to put cold cucumber shavings on your face. And you're like, oh. And it's like freezing cold, that cucumber that's been in ice. They shave it on your face and pack it on.
That. I love cucumber.
And then they just like oil you up. And then you're like, this is kind of hot and great. There's nothing sexual about it. They give you like
and you're
a full
completely
body
naked?
massage. Turn over. That's the only English they know. Completely naked.
Completely
unless
naked?
you're a weirdo and you're not. But like everyone is naked.
And they put a little towel on your privates
Okay.
for some decency.
Yeah, they do put like a washcloth or something.
And how many hours has it been now?
It's been like 20 minutes. You can arrive half an hour before your appointment, and that's what I used to do to just get in some of the hot tub.
And then the appointment is the massage, and then after the massage, you can just hang out back in the tea tubs.
in the sauna.
There's also a really
room.
nice room where you watch Korean soap operas, and there's like a restaurant, and they can like
This
bring
is
you your
someplace
food.
you got to go with friends though, because you
Babe,
can't.
this is just like the foot rub place we go to, but way higher end with like other options.
But we're in and out in an hour, and we're constantly being touched. We don't just sit there and like breathe in steam and like have to like. I don't like having when I go to get a massage and they go, yeah, you can come in and check in an hour early and just get some tea and wait in this room.
Yeah.
I'm always just like, no, I just want to go and get massaged and then leave. I don't want to sit around in a room that smells good. But I guess that's women that are just trying to escape their kids or something.
I agree. That seems boring to me. That's why I like this, where it's like, get into a scalding hot tub of green tea and then jump into one that's red and then jump into the cold plunge and take a shower, wash your hair, and then have a great scrub and then a full-on massage for an hour.
Wait, they scrub you and massage you?
First, they scrub you, every part of you. Sometimes I'd be like, can you do it lighter? Like, they would scrub off little, like, skin tags I had. Like, sometimes I would come out of there with, like, little injuries. Yeah.
Whoa.
But then the massage is amazing. They're great. And it's all tons of oil. And you're just like you're in another zone. And then you leave and you're like, I had 7 great epiphanies in there about my career, love life, changes I need to make in my life. And now I feel great.
Okay, so why don't we have these in every city? Why is there not St. Louis ones?
I've convinced you.
Yeah, now I want to start one. Why are they only in LA?
They hate Jews there, and it is part of the Holocaust.
I don't know. Why? And why are they so secret? Everyone's always like, you gotta go to this Korean spa.
There's a large Korean population in LA.
But why are they so secret? Why aren't they just advertised more? I feel like it's always like this elite
white
level of white
everything.
women that what?
Because white people ruin everything. So one white person goes in and is like, this is cool.
Well, you told me they went under because I didn't go. So I don't know what to do about any of this.
I don't know why that one went under. I suspect it was COVID, but I started, the longer it was around, the more white people showed up and the lamer it got, I have to say. It was just
and you look Asian, so they were like, maybe thought you could pass because many people have thought you were Asian before. That's so nice.
Thank you.
I just
By the way, the stuff, Nikki, that you talk about, like blowjobs and all of that, I have a friend who goes to those kinds of spas, and you just kind of like know which ones they are. And I'm always like fascinated, and like I get to ask him all these questions, like, how do you know which guy is into it? Like, how do they know? Because basically, I mean, the stories that he tells me, I think you would really, really love.
Oh yeah, so he's a guy that goes and gets hand jobs and stuff and gets sex.
Oh my god! Like
places.
him and his boyfriend go there and they just have a lot of fun with strangers, and it's all like
like gay bathhouses. Yes. And that was those were huge in the 80s and 90s too. I think a lot they're not as much anymore, but yeah, I mean even talking about ones that, I mean, I have a friend who went to one in China and she got like her asshole fingered. And then I have another friend that got her asshole fingered at a massage. Like, because some of these places like that is where women do go for that kind of service, I guess. I don't know. I'm just suspicious of, I just don't want to go to a place where sexual favors are being dealt out. Even if they're not to me and they're like, oh, good, a woman's here. I don't have to finger anyone
They
today.
can sniff that out, though. Like, they won't, like, if someone comes in, and this is what I asked my friend, like, how do you know that someone walking in is going to be into touching your dick? And he's like, they have a vibe. Like, we can all tell who's there for that and who's there, and we can't do it around them.
Crazy. There's like this sexual undercurrent that I am not on the wavelength of, that where people are just like, I knew he wanted to fuck me. I'm just like, I have never once thought a guy wanted to fuck me unless it was like he told me he wanted to fuck me. I've never been like, we just both knew, like, ever. And I think there's some women that just, I was watching this really sad show the other day on YouTube called The Soft White Underbelly. And it's this guy that just interviews people on Skid Row and just like fascinating people that have really sad stories. And he was interviewing this woman that was sex trafficked, and it's one of the worst stories I've ever heard. It was so fucking sad. And she was like, yeah, I just always, every single person, every single man I've ever known, I've just always been sexualized since I was like as early as I can remember. Everyone around me, and she wasn't she was raised in Detroit, like in, you know, not a bad part of it. And she was like, just my neighbors, everyone, like I just was always sexualized, and I can't even imagine what that would feel like at 11 to feel like people want to fuck you. Like and I know that some people relate to that. I just don't understand. I've never been on that wavelength of picking that up, or, you know, I'm sure it's happened where like gross old men are sexualizing me at a young age, but I didn't pick up on it. The saddest thing that I learned from this, though, that she met a guy, her parents kind of abandoned her. She was hanging with the wrong crowd. Eventually she got introduced to this guy that was like, listen, I'll take care of you. He was really nice. And she was like, I dealt with a lot of like bad people, and he was just had a different swagger about him. He was just calm. He didn't have the look of someone who was going to abuse me, because I'd been around it so much. I just knew. And so she trusted this guy. He's like, I'll buy you new clothes, all this stuff. She's 13. And she goes to this house where she's going to live because this guy is going to like give her a new life and is really like, you know, I've got your back, buys her all these new clothes. And then one day is like, I got to test you out. And she's like, what? And he's like, come on, I have to test you out. And she's like, has no idea what's even happening. And he's like, you think I just bought all this stuff for free for you? No, you're going to have to work. And so that was the day she was tested out. And then soon what they did was, and this is happening in every city. It's happening in St. Louis. You know, there's any kind of like motels by airports. This is what's happening. And she said that she just was taking this motel with, and she lived with all these other girls that were all trafficked. They were all, you know, 13 to 16. And they would go to these hotels and they would rent a room, and they would all stay in this room for like days on end, just sleeping there. And then they would rent another room where they would do their tricks. Not magic tricks, I'll tell you that. It wasn't like, oh, where'd the penny go? It's like, oh, where did my innocence go into this fucking man's asshole? And she said the most depressing thing was, and this bums me out so much, she said 95% of the men who obviously knew I was a 13-year-old, or at least somewhere around there, looked like normal men that wore Dockers and boat shoes, that drove in from the suburbs to go to this motel, and they would often go with their friends, and 95% of the time they had a wedding ring. And they had, like, she was like, they all looked like my uncle who has a family. They always did, and they were fucking 13-year-olds. So it just made me realize that's happening all the time. If I could have any wish fulfilled, this is 100% true. I mean, this is above, solving climate change, solving, world hunger. If I could have one wish fulfilled, it's that if you have fucked an underage girl, you have a bubble over your head that says, I fucked an underage girl. And you have to, every time you walk around, it's just floating over your head and everyone knows it. That is my dream. It would be my dream for one day to see, and that person wouldn't know that they had it, because I guarantee you, your neighbors, your uncles, your brother, like this underground sex industry is so much worse than anyone thinks it is. These men and men who are going in to get your husband or probably your husband's best friend, there's a 90% chance that your husband or someone that your husband knows that someone that you know goes regularly to get happy ending massages. And I know you go, no one I know would do that. Yes, they do. They don't talk about it except on the golf course, but so many people do. I would find out people that did it and go, you? Because guys tell me things they don't tell other women. And I'm telling you, most of my male friends, I would say 50% of my male friends have had a happy ending massage before. Yeah. And these are normal men. I know you're like, they're comics, they're weirdos. No, not just that. And so I'm not saying your husband did it, but I'm saying your husband's friend or your brother or your brother-in-law who you think, he's a family man, he would never. They do this stuff, man. And they know these girls are teens. It's so sick. This girl was like, it's just changed the way I looked at the world. She's 35 now, and she's like, it's just the things I saw, the men I saw partaking and having sex with underage girls in groups for like bachelor parties. These were like normal men. These weren't like scum of the earth, like dirty guys. Some of them were, but by and large, it was like men who pulled up in Lexuses. And it just like bummed me out so much. Have there been any epiphanies for you guys when you hear about, do guys ever confess this stuff to you and you go, what?
Yeah. I mean, years ago when I got into music, I was shocked when I would hear stories from like other musicians about how prevalent it was. I was like, wow, really? Okay. Didn't know that was going on, but I guess it just happens on the road.
And cheating. I think cheating is another thing that everyone goes, no, that just doesn't happen that much. It is the most, I mean, we've talked about this on the show before when Adam Levine, the whole thing came out. It's like, is anyone surprised by this?
You got to see Tar. We got to talk about Tar at some point. There's also a massage parlor scene in Tar that was kind of interesting and sort of like along the lines of what you're talking about. But it's all about power, but it flips it on its head because the protagonist is a famous female lesbian composer. So it's really interesting.
Okay. Kate Blanchett, right?
Yeah.
She's amazing. She can do no wrong. She
She's
was in that movie,
so
Don't Look Up, and I didn't even know it was her. Do you remember that?
Or
she
Don't
was
Look
like,
Back?
Don't Look Up. It was done by Adam McKay, and it was during COVID.
Oh,
and it was
yes,
about
the newscaster.
asteroid that was going to come. Yeah, she was amazing in that. And I go, who is this woman? She played like the hot Fox News girl, and she was so good. Yes. Who was like hitting on Leo's character. Did you see Leo was like spotted with a bunch of young girls on a yacht?
Yeah, speaking of young women.
I know. I mean, I'm sure he's dealt in some of that as well, allegedly. Not even allegedly. I would just straight up say that it probably has happened. I mean, everyone gets prostitutes in Hollywood. It's like, and I think White Lotus season 2 opened our eyes up to that a little bit more, both the cheating aspect of things and prostitution, and how, you know, there is nothing shameful about being a prostitute. It's a really lucrative industry. And I'm just saying it happens more than you think. And it's not just like greasy old men who can't get laid. Right. It's family men. And I just wish there was more, I wish people could understand, because I know that there are people that just go, I don't know anyone who's ever gotten a prostitute. I would bet my life on it. And it's like, I would bet it would be most of the men they know have done it before.
It's so funny your fantasy about the bubble.
Yeah, I just want a number above their head of how many underage girls they've fucked.
I used to have a fantasy all growing up. Like it started in junior high and then continued through high school. And I would just be like, I wish this dream would come true. I wish that anyone who had sex would just float up into the sky and we could see the ones that have had sex. Like,
yes,
that was my dream. Because I was a virgin and I just was like, I just wanted to know who had done it.
Yes.
I was fascinated by it.
That is always something I've wanted, is like, I just want people to, you know, I'm interested in people being honest about stuff. And when my friends tell me that they've been to a prostitute, I don't judge them. I don't care. I'm not like, you partook in this street. I mean, if
You're
they
like,
say
did you
they
tip
fucked
her
an
at least
underage
20%?
girl. Yeah, I go, oh, at least. I mean, I feel like I'm partaking in some of this, by the way, because look at this Andrew Tate stuff, for example. Andrew Tate has trafficked women who he probably promised them a good life or that they were going to be his girlfriend. And now he is forcing them to make OnlyFans accounts where they have to make explicit material and porn. He is, and they're not being paid, and he's taking all the profits. That's what Andrew Tate has. Do you think other people aren't doing that? Are you thinking like at all the porn you see, that woman is like a person that is making her own decisions and is getting all the money that she deserves? No, porn industry is just so abusive, and I feel a lot of times when I am sitting on my couch twiddling my thumbs. I've already done my foot massager 1,000,000 times. There's nothing to watch on TV I like. I don't feel like working out, and I start thinking about like, I want to watch porn. I want to just go jerk off to some porn. I feel the same guilt I'm assuming that men feel when they want to go get a happy ending of like, I know I'm supporting something bad. This feels kind of gross. I have this newfound guilt because I know the porn I watch is not locally sourced, grass-fed, like ethical. I know it isn't. And now I know even OnlyFans, because you think, oh, I'll go to OnlyFans. These are women that are empowered. They're doing their own thing. Even that is being infiltrated by this pimp culture of like the men taking all the money and forcing these women to do it. So it's hard to find, what's it called?
Ethical porn?
Ethical porn. And I gotta say, the women that are making ethical porn, you're missing the mark.
You need to become a madam or like a producer and start getting your own.
I've thought about it before.
Stable
I really
together.
But I don't want women to lose. So much of porn is based on young women because I like to see younger women too. Like I like to see women in the prime of their sexuality, which is in their 20s. And I don't think at 20 or in your 20s, I think very few women should get into porn in their 20s. I think some women, it is like the right path that you already know who you are, you know what you want to do. I think most women, it is a mistake, not because it's anything shameful, but because society shames it so much that your life will never be the same because of how people are going to view you. You're going to be Monica Lewinsky'd, even though you did nothing wrong. And I think that even if I were to produce porn, I would have to get like women in their 30s and 40s, and who wants to fucking see that, So that was a joke, but it would be hard to make the porn I want to see is innocent girls that are kind of like being coerced. I like porn where the girl's like, I've talked about it before, reluctant, where she's like, no, okay, like kind of talked into it. And you can, obviously you could act that, and I convince myself the porn I'm watching is acted. But I do now have that guilt that I assume men have when they, sheepishly walk into a massage parlor for a happy ending, and they convince themselves that like, no, these girls want to be doing this, and that they're making good money and all of those things. I'm starting to feel that way.
What's a positive thing is I've seen more of those signs in the airports everywhere, actually.
Everywhere. I don't think that's a good sign. I think it means it's everywhere. Because I don't see many people
like if
rescuing.
You're being trafficked, call this number. We will help you right now. I
know for a fact those girls do not call that number. They're terrified. They don't even have phones.
You don't think it helps at all?
No, I don't. If anything, I think it is indicative of it being a huge issue that is not just in.
Yeah, like where do they get their phones from? And like the guys who are trafficking them aren't watching them. I used to work on a radio show like in the trucking industry, and truckers are actually like, they see a lot of the trafficking through truck stops and stuff like that. And there's an organization called Women in Trucking, and they the female truckers, if they would spot someone in the restroom that seemed like they were a victim of trafficking, they would give them like a chapstick, and in the chapstick cap there was a number, where it's kind of like this like innocent way of, or like, like there's like a message in there, like, do you need help, without verbalizing, in case anyone's like listening.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's
and there's
signals that they can give. There's like hand signals that I haven't learned, but I mean, I will say that every time I go in a bathroom and I see one of those signs, I walk out of the bathroom and I go, just look for men with younger women that appear to be their daughters. And then you look around and you see it fucking everywhere.
Everywhere.
And then you think, I'm going to say something. And then you go, that's probably his daughter. I'm going to look like a fool. And then you don't.
I remember being in an airport. Was I with you? I was freaking out because this woman she looked about 19 and she had a baby on her hip. And then she was with a man who looked about 60. And I was just like, that's got to be his daughter. That's got to be. And then they kissed and it was their family. And I was just like, ugh, why? And then he came up with like another baby that they had together. I was just like, this
That'd
poor
be so
girl's had
funny to just like call the
children with this
authorities
grandpa.
about disgusting men who are dating women that are far too young for them and just call authorities about it and report them. And that is my dream, to walk up to like a really pretty young girl with some old rich man who she has to like reluctantly fuck and walk up and hand her a note that says, if you need help, and have them both read it, because you know that he'll be like, what does it say? He'll put on his fucking readers and it'll say, if you need help, I'm like call 911, whatever it is. And she's gonna be like, no, this is my husband. I go, really? We all know you don't want this.
Are you sure?
Yeah. That's my idea. That would be so fun to do, because you could come off like you're being a good person, but really you're being a piece of shit and like judging this person's life.
We
but you're
can
also
help
letting
you
her
start
know.
over.
Yeah, we can.
We have a GoFundMe set up.
I'm
She's
just gonna
like,
start
I'm accustomed to
buying
$2 million
chapsticks
a
in
year.
bulk. I'm like, you can use this. There's a number inside. The chapstick is also for his balls that I'm assuming are old and chapped, so you can, wiggle those in your hand. Yeah, that's my new thing. But I think, the thing in airports is just to look for young women with men. I mean, how often do you see that? Every fucking where. How are you supposed to know? If someone's being, I mean, I'm sure there's signs for it that you can look for. Speaking of creepy men, we got a message about, a bestie sent me an article about why men become gynecologists. And I sent it to Noah and Anya last night. And we'll talk about that right when we get back, because I get it now, kind of. And let's hear some reasons when we come back. Okay, so we got this article sent to us from a bestie, and it's from The Cut, I believe. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, and it's why men want to be
10 men explain why they became gynecologists.
Yes. What did you guys get out of this? Because I thought the most interesting one was, the reasons are women are less disgusting than men. And so you're not dealing with like smelly, gross patients, even though one doctor was like, yeah, the vagina's kind of smelly. But most of the time, women keep better hygiene. You're also not dealing with as many deaths, because it's not like a constant, like you're just diagnosing cancer and death constantly. So it's just usually like helping women upkeep. A lot of men love just the process of like bringing life into the world, when so much of medicine is based around death. These are all good reasons. Some love just, getting up in that snatch. No, some
This
men,
one made me laugh so hard.
What?
My female friends in medical school said examining women was, quote, too smelly, which of course can be a factor, but in general, women take excellent care of themselves. Mm-hmm. This guy's patting himself on the back for not being able to really smell a smelly puss. It's such a weird backhanded compliment to himself. It's so rude. And also so unprofessional to call them too smelly. You're a fucking doctor.
Well, he wasn't saying that. He's saying his colleagues say that.
I just never want a doctor to use that phrase, too smelly. You sound like
one doctor admitted that he does. He's was thankfully honest and said, I love women and I love pussy. And sometimes it's hard to like not get a little bit like not see a hot woman and like think about it. It's not like it always happens, but sometimes those wires get crossed, and I appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, that was my favorite one, because it was like really, really honest. All the other ones, it just felt like a little bit like fluff, like they were just kind of like, oh, this is going to be published, so
yeah,
I'm gonna.
One
just
said
go
women
into
are better patients than men. They have no qualms about telling us what's wrong with them, and therefore we can do what we need to do to get them better. Which was the opposite of what I thought. Is that I thought men dismiss our pain more, but men. There was one that said men tend to actually want to give more help to women because they don't experience periods or any of this stuff. So when they hear a woman being like, "I have a heavy period," they're like, "Oh, you poor thing, that sounds terrible," and they like treat them even better because we've all met men that go, oh my God, it sounds awful. You bleed all the time, cramps. Like they almost exaggerate your pain because they just can't imagine bleeding out of their dick. While there are some men that are just like, oh, cramps that time of the month, and they dismiss it. I thought that was interesting.
That one made me roll my eyes so hard.
What?
Like, I just think, men, that we're better doctors for women because, like, we're just so gentle because we're just, like, really respectful of you guys, and we know you're in a lot of pain. It's like, you just admit you want to get up in there.
Right.
And they're kind of, like, slagging other women doctors. Like, we're just, I can't help it. We're better at it. Like, we're just more sensitive.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. They are saying that they're in the minority and that a lot of them get into this and they think no one will go to them, which is so different from what we were saying yesterday, where all of us I didn't even think to go to a woman doctor for my women parts. Because there was a part of me that goes, I don't want to be, it's the same way that I don't, when I see a cop pull over a black person, a white cop pull over a black person, I just go, why are you doing the most cliche thing? So I wanted to be different. I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm not going to just go to a woman doctor because I'm not scared of men. I think it's normal for men to be all up in my guts. And so, but that, I liked this one where the one doctor said that OBGYNs tend to be like better people to hang out with. Like, there's different types of comedians too. There's improv comedians, there's stand-up comedians, there's late night writers, there's mimes. Like comedy has all these different types of podcasters, like radio personalities. Like I get along with people in radio and stand up. Those are like my two groups where like I always gravitate towards those people because they just have my same sensibilities. Even though comedy is when you get into comedy, you can choose any kind of like specialty. And I think that when doctors start out, they can choose any kind of, they kind of gravitate towards which doctors are the coolest. And I have to say that like OBGYNs tend to be kind of like cooler and like have a better sense of humor because there's more women in it and women don't have as big of egos as men, just naturally. I mean, they can. Women can be egomaniacs for sure. We all know some, including moi, many days. But I would find that they're probably, the one doctor was like, yeah, OBGYNs are just more fun. They're funny. They're cooler. And I think that probably has something to do with it being a mostly women-dominated specialty, right?
That is cool. I missed that. I like this. Was it Noah that said this person sounds like a serial killer? Yeah. This guy. The female body is a metaphor for her womanhood, and I'm granted access to her whole identity. Ew.
No, get out. If someone was reading my pussy like tea leaves or something and like thought it was like
peeling them back like leaves.
Thought it was any indication of my womanhood. Dude, I don't even look at my vagina anymore. To me, I don't know if you guys have sensed this. Being 38 and 7 months years old, who's counting? 38, 7 months and 3 days old. I just want to say that my vagina is not, I'm going through the change of like, I have a whole bit about it right now about not being able to relate to the song Wet Ass Pussy anymore. And it's like a travesty. And I'm going to save you all of that. Come see me live. Tour dates available at nikkiglaser.com. But it's definitely like, it's like functional now. I was kind of comparing it to like, it used to like have a heyday, right? Where it was like all I thought about. And now it's like my CD player in my car. Like it one time was of use and provided me with so much. And now it definitely has a use. It holds my parking tickets. When you like go into a parking garage and you need the little thing, you can shove it in there and it's like, oh, I found a new use for it. And that's also where I put them in my pussy too. But it's not like, it's barely a pussy anymore. I feel like it's like it's more like a crotch. Like it's like, it's a vagina. I mean, it's not even a vagina. It's a vulva. It like doesn't, it's not, I never wanted to be, it's so interesting because I always thought there would be a part in my life where I wouldn't talk about sex as much on stage. Because people always were like, you're a sex comedian. Why do you talk about sex so much? It's cool that you do, whatever perspective they had. It's cool that you do. It's weird that you do. And I always said, I'll stop talking about sex when I'm not interested in it. And I swear to God, sex is like 5% of my act right now. And it was 100% of it for the past 20 years. And now it's like, or 90% of it. Now it's like 5%. I don't even talk about it at all. I talk about it like maybe a little bit, but I'm going through the change. And it's sad because I miss like loving sex so much and being obsessed with it. And now I still love having orgasms. I still love watching porn. You don't watch porn, do you, Anya?
Once in a great while.
Like, are you allowed to watch porn when you live with a man?
Yes, I can do whatever I want to.
I know, but I have to. You don't.
I have to call
him,
Chris D'Elia first and ask him if I have permission to go to the
Daddy,
grocery
can
store.
I watch? Get on your knees. But I'm at my grandma's funeral. Get on your fucking knees and send me a picture while
I'm already on my knees.
Yeah,
praying.
Wait a second. So did you though?
I don't broadcast it. I'm not like, hey, I'm watching porn in here, or I watched porn today. I kind of keep it to myself.
Would you ever? I have been horny when my boyfriend is passed out next to me, and I got really horny, and I wanted to watch it in bed next to him. I think that should have been an advertisement for Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Remember when the woman used to jump with the glass of wine?
Yes.
And it wouldn't
That's
move?
So
I'd
brilliant.
be like, you can jerk off next to your boyfriend and he won't wake up. Or vice versa.
Maybe that was what they were trying to get across.
Chris wanted to, or I would have no problem if my boyfriend in any world wanted to jerk off next to me. I'd be like, thank you for reading my body language tonight. That's good. But I don't think that I don't think either of us would want to see each other do that. But I am ashamed sometimes that porn to me is just faster and easier, and just holding a little thing over my clit and laying like I'm in a toboggan is easier than being spread-legged and grinding.
Right, it's quicker, faster. It's
like a cold shower compared to a workout. It's just quick and done. And
right.
Yeah. Final thought. The kids are almost here. I have presents for them. And that will last 2 seconds of me giving those presents. They're coming in the car. They're giving me the car. Should I go to the aquarium? I feel like I can't go support. The zoo is free, but it's freezing outside today. So I don't feel bad going to the zoo because I'm not giving them any money. And so I don't feel bad about it as much as I would the aquarium, because I just don't want to support.
I can imagine a trip with Aunt Nikki to the zoo. Now, those flamingos, those are endangered and they're suffering right now because they're here.
They're at this climate. They're bored. I wish someone would have been more honest with me as a kid about that stuff of because I knew kids are very perceptive. You go to the monkey exhibit and they're bored. They're sad. They have moss growing on them. Oh. It smells. They're all picking each other's butts and noses. There's a rock that one of them is throwing around. There's an old baby doll that one of them is ripping to shreds. It's so depressing. And I got that vibe from it. Or the sea lion is just going the same pattern over and over past the window.
So sad.
This isn't happy times. And so, but I think that you're just tricked into thinking zoos are these magical places. And I know the people that work at zoos are obsessed with animals and conservation, and they are, trying to do the right thing. I mean, I used to want to work at SeaWorld and get my ponytail tugged on by Tilkalum and then drowned in front of a crowd. I guess it wasn't in front of a crowd. But as much as I do want to go to that aquarium, because I do love aquariums. I used to want to be a marine biologist when I was little, until I figured out that, to be a marine biologist, you have to measure them and track their mating patterns and stuff. I just thought you just would play with them and teach them how to do tricks. I thought that's
I just wanted to put my hand
was.
In the middle of an anemone.
Ooh, yeah. Or just pet a stingray. Did you guys ever have dreams of being working with animals? What was your in third grade, I want to be this when I grow up?
I definitely thought about marine biologist, but I used to always say paleontologist or archaeologist. That seemed fun to me, digging up fossils. And
nothing about your life now that leads me to believe that would have been of interest to you.
I know. I used to dig in the dirt a lot. I mean, I grew up in the sticks all by myself talking to
Sometimes when I
animals.
say I look ugly, you dig for a compliment for me. And you go, no, your
Look at
ear
this
looks
little
good
shard
today.
of a compliment I found.
No. So is there anything in your life that you can look at now where you go, oh, like did you watch Jurassic Park? Were you into that? Are you into dinosaurs? Like, why paleontologist? Did you think it just sounded smart when people would ask?
Maybe I thought it sounded smart and I was trying to be like my friend, but it did seem really cool to like be digging and find ancient
stuff.
civilizations. But
My
I also was
sister.
obsessed with like songwriting and radio, and I had radio shows when I was like 8 or 9.
Okay, so that it all came to be. And Noah,
Yeah.
what did you want to be when you were in 3rd grade? What was your like lofty dream?
Well, it's so funny because also a marine biologist, and I think it's just
Yes.
because it sounded smart and you get to work
Yes.
with animals. And then I wanted to be a veterinarian.
What is this?
Oh, yeah.
Why did we all know the word marine biologist?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
just
even know what a
sounded-
biologist was. I think I found out a biologist was a separate thing after marine biologist. Why do kids all know marine biology?
And
But it
why
all-
did I fantasize she looked like Christy Brinkley? Like I always thought if I was a marine biologist, I'll be tall, tan, blonde with a ponytail.
Yes,
Like
yes,
Nikki
and you get to wear a
Glaser.
wetsuit in front of a crowd. I mean,
Yes.
the crowd part was a part of it for me, for sure. And then the seal would come out, and I'd go, look at you, look at Rufus, everyone, clap for Rufus. And then Rufus would give me a high five. And then the dolphin would come up and like on its body, and then it'd go, and I would kiss it. And I'd go, oh, I'm blushing. And then he'd go, and I'd go, look, Rodney's getting jealous. And then a killer whale would come out, and then I'd kiss him on his little nose and boop him. And then he would go down. And then have you ever seen a beluga whale? Oh, that's if anything could get kids to be marine biologists, beluga whales' heads are so squishy and gishy. That is what I would want to
yes.
do. I never even saw that before, but it makes me want to go back to school for it. Oh, those beluga whale heads. They're like those balls that you get at Target that I'm about to get my nephew to buy, thinking it's the most expensive thing there. That's the most valuable thing. All right, the kids are here. I have to go. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to Anya. Thank you to Noah. Don't be cut and check. Bye.